enjoyed it. And can I say, as a Welsh person, I know I don't sound like it because I'm from the north of Wales.
Was it really bad? Somebody said I sound like I got the engine and Ponty Pandy, which actually, my son loves Fireman Sam, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put a bit of Fireman Sam in there anyway. But the other part of it is another lad who's he took me when I went away to he's a Hereford lad actually, and I based it on him, and so anyway.
I was going to congratulate you. I thought it was
all right.
I
did my best.
All right. You've really pulled that off, and it's a hard one. I think.
It's really hard actually, and you know it's hard when you go up against an Irishman, and you're English, and you go, oh my God, hang on, because Irish and Welsh together just clash a little bit when you're trying to. That was one of the first things, because I have an ear feed and Donald's in my ear and he's like full on Irish, and my Welsh accent, I find myself going into Irish, and you know.
I'm interested because of course you've done Christopher Nolan film sets as well, studio system as well.
Yeah, and do you know what it is? I mean, but they're two different beasts, you know, and I think, you know, no matter what, it's really two. No matter what, I mean, selling movies is very different to theatre and film, you know, and writing and acting, and to find a place where you can marry the two is really quite complex. So it's very refreshing to be able to take people who, you know, work within movies or within theatre and just go, do you know what? Let's just throw something up in 5 minutes and see what happens. And it's really lovely to see the result, that it's been received so well, and it's refreshing. It's very fresh, you know, for me anyway. I enjoyed doing it, and I could tell when we were doing it, it was the right thing to do, and it's nice to see what you can achieve with just the written word, and how compelling that can be. Does that make sense?
Before you go,
yeah,
well,
go on.
The
6 auto cues.
All right, okay, well, one in every mirror.
Pretty much, yeah, and in my lap, and you know, in the Benelin box.
Was that was presumably a massive help? How interesting was that for you?
Fantastic. In fact, that was the draw. I'm used to doing theatre. I love theatre. Don't get the opportunity to do it on screen, and to be honest, with such a great writer as well who can write, and it's a compelling script, and a set of duologues as well. It works beautifully. So as a one-man piece, it didn't. Well, it wasn't a one-man piece. It was an ensemble piece, but obviously as a frontman,
Sorry.
No. It's okay.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
No, it's all right. Like, so it's a theatre-based screenplay. Yeah, that was the initial draw for me, because to be allowed to just take start action and go all the way through and watch an entire character arc develop over the course of 90 minutes or 3 30-minute cards, or I think, you know, 4 or 5, because we stop and start, but continue the arc all in one night. It is not something that happens on film. But you know, and also we read it off the auto cue, so it's sight reading, and the phones are going live at the same time. So the guys are in the hotel room reading their lines, and I'm reading my lines and driving and trying to hide all that and create character. But it's very much cut and paste. It's like slightly punk, but at the same time it's theatre. So it was a real black box theatre, experimental. At the same time, you know, people have put money into it, so we had the responsibility of the producer clock to get it in on time and do it properly.
It does sound like punk acting.
It is
in a
actually,
way, because it's so different. Because sometimes I suppose it can be a bit of a hindrance as well.
It was essential, though I didn't know the lines. I mean, Steve's initial pitch was, I have 30 pages and it's an idea, you know. It's like 30 pages is not a problem, I can learn them. Then he had 90 pages 5 days before, and it's a considerable amount of text to learn, and there's just no way that I could have learnt it. But I like sight reading. You know, you can learn a lot from sight reading, and it's a strong. I'm lucky enough to have it as something that's quite a strong tool for me. I can read and assimilate information quite quickly. So it was nice to be able to articulate myself using a visual aid. And also try to hide that sleight of hand and see if that worked, which was interesting, as opposed to just this single. I did idiot boards before on Bronson when I played half man, half woman, and I'm reading there. So I use idiot boards a lot, because sometimes sight reading is a lot more fresh than the 2-week rehearsal gap that you have whilst you're learning to assimilate your lines into your body. So the written word, when it's first spoken, is quite fresh. So to capture that, you know, then it hits sort of dull period for, you know, in a rehearsal period, and then 2 weeks into a run, say on the stage, you start to play with it. But you know, early rehearsal is actually quite exciting, because if you capture that, you have a very similar liveliness to what you would have down the road. It's a bit technical, a bit boring, a bit anarchy, but that's what was exciting and engaging for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Tom.
It's like really boring. Such a noddy, aren't I?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure this could be made by other people into a radio play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the idea was to shoot it as a play, and I shot it as. Is it Tom? He was actually quite good.
I was in it.
Yeah, in spite of what I just said about him, yeah, he was actually quite good.
There's quality control.
But he was. I mean, the idea was to shoot the whole thing from beginning to end,
Right.
every night. Was it not?
Yeah.
And we shot the whole thing from beginning to end every night. And the other actors, the fantastic cast who for some reason agreed to do it, were in a little conference room in a hotel off the M25, really making the calls, and Tom's really taking the calls on the phone in the car. So the whole thing is really happening as you see it. And then, exactly, and then we just did it at least once a night, sometimes 2 times a night over 6 nights, and then said, that's it.
Yeah.
Did we not?
Yeah, we had to change the cameras up each night, didn't we?
Thing runs out after the memory thing runs out after 28 minutes, so you have to stop, freeze, change these memory cards, and then carry on.
And you let me read the whole thing off an auto cue as well.
But that was the beauty of it. I mean, you don't know it, you don't see it. The auto cue's down there, up there, all over the place.
It's a brilliant script.
Well, hopefully
He's a
we'll
brilliant
talk to you in
actor.
a minute.